Hello and welcome back to Vainglory here in Singapore. We are on the cusp of what could be our final match of the group stages. TSM up against Ace Gaming. And if either team take this 2-0, we have a one-way tie. Oh no, we don't have a tie.
Nope, we
have no
a
ties.
set group.
But if it's 1-1, we have a three-way tie. So we're going to have even more action going on after that.
Yes, we'll have to get exact clarification of the tiebreaker rule set so that we can give you an accurate representation without speculating.
There are more games. We can promise you there will be more games.
Way more games.
Way more.
Yes.
Still got quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the finals, and the 5v5 show match to go on throughout the course
And the best of
the
three
weekend.
match. The best place, I can't speak English.
Third place match. You are Australian, so we'll forgive you for that. We're going to get into the game. Team SoloMid on the blue, Ace Gaming on side B, and it's the Lorelei and Lyra bands to start us off. All the L's getting removed.
Okay.
Straight away for TSM.
Okay, so TSM, Churnwalker was a hero that FlashX doubted, but when he came out, he invested so many hours into mastering this hero, and since North America have banned it consistently against Team SoloMid, they do not allow it to come through the draft, they do not allow Team SoloMid to play it, so the fact that Team SoloMid have been able to secure it against Ace Gaming in game one of their best of two is huge for their momentum moving into this game.
Arden and Rona going to be picked up, though, for Ace Gaming. They removed the Baron. Blackfeather was removed by Team SoloMid. So still a few options here for both the two teams, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Ace Gaming.
Yeah, certainly a strong composition to deal with. However, Rona can be countered, and so it is slightly risky to pick it up at this stage of the game, especially when a Churnwalker has already been purchased. And there we go. We see the Alpha and the Sky come through. Very much likely a weapon power Sky for Team SoloMid. Best Chuck and A can pull that out, but there is the potential for double CP or even a weapon power of Alpha here as well. And, you know, when you bring that CP Sky in with a Frostburn especially, you can deal with a Rona very nicely.
It's a possibility of a CP Arden on the side of Ace Gaming as well, alongside that Rona. We'll have to see what they pick up last. Have a lot of their, well, they've got all of their spare time to go. It's been a relatively rapid draft thus far.
Well,
so
we have 4 captains removed from the table. That only really leaves Lance as a priority pick in this current 2.10 update, and he is definitely not wanting to be coming through here, I don't think, against a Churnwalker or a Sky. Samuel does come through, going to have that range necessary to be able to poke down the Sky and keep Arden at bay, keep Churnwalker at bay. It worked very nicely for Hunters in the game that Ace just lost up against. Samuel was able to deal with the Churnwalker fairly successfully, so Ace potentially looking at that and going, this is a way we can deal with FlashX's pretty much incredible Churnwalker play.
it's a very similar style as we saw Hunters just use against Ace Gaming. You know, you've got Aroma who can shield up someone as they dive in and can go in with them, and then you've got the Samuel for a bit of poke. On the side of TSM, though, we see this traditional weapon power Sky, an aggressive Alpha as well, and then the Churnwalker, which, as you said, FlashX has been well known for in NA.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's been a while since he's been able to pull it out on the competitive stage due to the fact that North American teams are so consistent in banning it away from Team SoloMid, and it has allowed for the likes of other captains in North America to start to develop their own skills. Yesterday we saw such fabulous Churnwalker play from Max Green, and so I'm excited to see if the master of Churnwalker in North America has kept up with his threat, and if this is going to be a TSM speciality with the Churn.
I'll have to wait and see. Ace Gaming lost a little bit early on because they weren't aggressive enough into Hunters. Had a 1-1 tie. TSM tied with Hunters yesterday as well, so we've got a very even group on our hands.
And it's important to mention that the last time these teams faced up against each other, only recently, I believe in October, it was a Team SoloMid victory. The run of the gauntlet at the Amazon Mobile Masters was a slightly different Ace roster, and potentially a very different Ace roster when you consider it was Skoza captaining up for Ace Gaming. We now have Youngju at the helm of that ship for Ace Gaming, but TSM did take that best of one successfully and then ran the gauntlet all the way to the finish to be able to take the Mobile Masters Championship. And so whilst it's a very different style of tournament play, it is important to remember that in this matchup, Team SoloMid are 1-0 across history.
It is the only tournament that TSM have won this year, though.
That's true.
It's been very much a year of second and third places for them, losing to C9 in the Spring Unified and then losing to Tribe in the Summer Unified semi-finals. So they're not the powerhouse from NA that they were coming into Worlds last year.
And it's very surprising because in the regular season, TSM has topped the charts all 3 times. Regular season, spring, summer, and autumn, they finished first place. The live championships is where they have struggled to be able to find their mission here.
Interesting to see TSM pushing up early here. Tassa trying to get the damage onto Chuck. It's a 2v3, but best Chuck NA will be able to use that Sui Strike to get away. And on this Sky, he looks to be going down a Crystal Power route, with Vonsi going Weapon Power Alpha out of the jungle.
Yeah, something Vonsi has prioritized quite a bit is this Weapon Power Alpha. One of the people who does it fairly regularly in competitive play. We saw a bit of TSM play in November on another tournament, and it was something Vonsi was really enjoying picking up here. You can see a bit of skirmish across the jungle as Vonsi's taking these camps away.
Flash X is so low. Vonsi didn't even get that. That went over to Tassa, and now he's in an awful position as Youngju and Tassa can just close in on him. He's trying to trade back in towards the Arden, who uses the healing flask. Vonsi now gets himself away to the healer Trient, but Ace are the ones on the aggression, and you can see Tassa stepping forward. Vonsi gets himself a Trient, will heal back up from that. But the Malice and Verdict keeps him quite low, so TSM will just back away. Aggression from TSM, aggression from Vonsi, but not quite paying off dividends yet.
It is definitely good for Vonsi though, because he has created a experienced lead in the jungle for himself, and a potential gold lead to come from that as well. And so for this alpha, this Weapon Power Alpha that we saw come out of Hunters earlier, remember, its win conditions is early aggression. Early to mid is when it's at its strongest, and you can kind of bridge the gap with a Sky, but for Hunters, they weren't quite able to do that against Ace. Ace know what they're doing against this top.
Chuck solo, the Malice comes in, and the verdict is death. Here comes Vonsi to try and get on towards the backline of Ace, but can't do too much. First blood goes over to Ace Gaming.
Yeah, very nice rotation. Coming out of Ace Tassa, knowing his power. Look at his build as well. This is all about efficiency of damage. Crystal bits across the board, and it's a very cheap item, 300 gold, and it provides a very large amount of CP for the price. The gold efficiency is huge. Of course, you're going to convert them into items later on. Tassa will go towards a Dragon's Eye fairly early, you would feel, and maybe even towards a Frostburn. Something to consider is that Frostburn can be pretty powerful, and Samuel will have to see if he needs it against this Arden, Alpha.
FlashX pulling back the Rona in the lane as well. Creation on the Vox earlier on had an incredible hyper carry performance, was incredibly aggressive. Here he's got the Rona where you want to be in the fray, but sometimes he does overstep, so we'll have to watch out as we get into these team fights as to whether he is pushing a little bit too hard. Ace trying to defend their turret. Creation takes a bit of a chunk, so does Vonsi, but has that level 6 now. Prime Directive going in underneath the tower. He's going to be able to dodge his way away. That turret a little bit too much for him to deal with at this point in the game.
Yeah, right now TSM looking to try and hold the distance out between Best Chuck and A's Sky and Creation's Rona. Best Chuck and A, what's he wanting to finish with this gold he has? Moving down to the shop, you expect it to be a Dragon's Eye for raw damage, but Frostburn potentially could come through later on. It is the Dragon's Eye coming through. And Dragon's Eye just provides so much ability for Sky to deal damage. Very easy for Sky to keep those Dragon's Eye stacks alive. You can see just moving into the lane, he stacks up 3. The 4th will come out with an auto attack, and already the damage is real.
TSM farming up well as well. They will put Creation back. Youngju taking a bit of a chunk, but at the moment TSM just have that slight advantage. About 600 gold ahead. Good farming from Chuck into the ranged into melee matchup, but Creation is still hot on his heels, has now finished the Serpent's Mask. Fountain completed on Youngju as well, so we are starting to see this composition from Ace Gaming come online a little bit more. Still need to be a bit cautious because TSM seem to be in the driver's seat of this game.
Yeah, and there's been some criticism on Best Chuck and A, especially at live events. His CSing has been suboptimal and he's often getting out CS'd. And so in a matchup like this where he has such a advantage over his opponent due to the fact he has range into this Rona, seeing the CS advantage come through is confidence boosting for TSM in a turret under siege.
Down to about half HP. TSM will take their time with this one. Don't have too much damage on the turret yet. but they should be okay for the time being. And that it's one of the things we see with TSM is we talk about the North American teams. You know, you look at C9, you look at Tribe, when they get to these LAN events, they have this massive spike in power as a team, a massive spike in synergy as well. And we haven't quite seen that from TSM. They seem to play at about 90% when they're playing in normal tournaments, and then just have a small boost when they come to these bigger events. I want to see a little bit more from them this tournament. I want to see FlashX and Chuck and Bonsi really step up to the plate and take these games by the scruff of the neck.
It's been such a heartbreaking year for TSM, all the way from the World Championships in 2016 to now. It has been them being just closed out the door. Vonsi, no fear, just fight. May look for an engage.
We'll go in with the Prime Directive and look at the damage on towards Tassa. Pops down the Drifting Dark, trying to get some healing back for himself, but not going to be able to do too much yet. Waiting for that Eve of Harvest on the Samuel.
And that's the difference we see from Vonsi's weapon power alpha. Sorrow Blade first, just to prioritize as much burst damage on those auto attacks. Turret will go down. Wow.
Prime Directive was dodged. The Trespass comes out though from FlashX, and now here comes Tassa. Vonsi maybe a bit overextended. The Gauntlet's going to come out. There's the Termination Protocol as Vonsi runs for the wins, but Ace aren't going to let him get away for now. Goes down to sleep. Oblivion gets him out, and now FlashX has to run as well. But Creation isn't done. He jumps into the midst of the fray, and Best Chuck NA just can't really do too much here. The Fountain comes out, but it's too little too late. Ace get 2 kills after losing a turret in the lane.
Yeah, Best Chuck's Sky play here wasn't quite enough to be able to keep Creation at bay. Some of those forward barrages going wide and not really executing the damage that he needs to be outputting as this CP Sky. This turret's under siege, but Best Chuck's doing his best to manage the entirety of Ace, and with Vonsi here, they can turn this fight around.
Tassa needs to get out of there, but the Prime Directive is going to allow Vonsi to chase. Doesn't have the infinite reboot, and once again goes down. Too much aggression there from Team SoloMid. Sometimes you need to have a little bit of fear and not just fight all of the time.
Yeah, this is, well, this is just trademark Vonsi. He does this so excellently, and sometimes it just isn't enough to find a team fight win. You could argue, though, a def is okay, because the turret survived, and the gold lead hasn't quite been generated yet by Ace Gaming, so a single def really isn't the be-all, end-all of TSM in this game. They want to scale up anyway towards the late game on this Sky. They have to, and you see Best Chuck pulls out that Clockwork second. He struggled against Harmonious's Sky yesterday, and this is a build that he is going to be basically copy pasting into the game here, and really looking to try and provide as much threat of his own on this CP Sky.
Creation now has the Serpent's Mask in the breaking point as well, though. So Ace are starting to come online, and don't really see any mortal wounds coming out from the side of Team SoloMid. They will try and shut down that Rona, but she can heal so much with that red mist when these fights do begin to erupt.
Not only does Rona generate a lot of healing from the Serpent's Mask, fortified health as well, but so does Samuel healing with the Corrupted Genius. Oh dear, here's the gauge.
Yeah, turret goes down. There's the Gauntlet. They're trying to catch out Best Chuck, and already he's dead. TSM in all sorts of pain at the moment, as FlashX is going to get caught as well. He pops the Fountain into the Trespass to keep himself alive for the time being, but Tassa isn't quite done. Ace might even look for some damage down on towards this turret, instead trying to steal away the healing Treant, which they did manage to do. They'll take away a lot of the TSM jungle, and now Ace Gaming 2,000 gold ahead. It was even only a minute ago. Yeah,
and this is huge for Ace Gaming. They are running away with this game so far, and they're looking to be the ones to dictate Group D here. Creation will move in, going to build a Sorrow Blade next. He's found Vonsi as well.
Vonsi just a little bit overextended, goes down into Heroic Perk, but there's no coming back from that. Went to sleep and then died very quickly afterwards. Ace so strong at the moment.
Instantly into the jungle to take away this Crystal Sentry. Such excellent macro play coming out of Ace Gaming. You can only praise it at this point. Any advantage they gain, they try and take the game off of it as much as possible, taken away. And TSM are at a fault right now. Vonsi on this alpha hasn't had the influence you need. 0-3 and 0. He is the premier def on the team, and that makes sense. He's on the front line. Best Chuck isn't wanting to get into the team fight. FlashX is very tanky and can regen a lot of health as well. So that really just leaves Vainglory stranded on an island if his teammates cannot get him out of it. And currently the lifeboats haven't been served so far. So Ace have been snowballing. We need to see Best Chuck and A build that broken myth ASAP. He is sitting gold away from it. It's not going to come within the next couple of minutes, but it's so important to take down Creation.
Earlier on, we praised TSM for shutting Ace out of the game. Now it's Ace doing exactly the same to TSM. Creation ahead in farm. Tassa catching up with Vainglory as well. Ace looking very dominant. FlashX will get the pull back. Here comes the engage from Vainglory as he goes in with the prime directive, but the only directive he needs is to run away, as Ace can look for the re-engage here. Tassa's almost up towards that broken myth. Doesn't look like he's going towards Eve next, realizing he doesn't need any extra healing against this TSM lineup. And
actually, Clockwork provides so much energy regen due to its buffs in 2.10 that you don't really need Eve of Harvest for energy regen. Eve of Harvest is more about sustain now. You have a very distinctive line between these items. FlashX wants engage.
Trespass with a double stun there, but TSM decide they don't want to go any further, just trying to force Ace back from the turret. I don't think Best Chuck was locked on either, so didn't have the opportunity to death from above straight away. Ace playing a little bit of a slow roll on this game, allowing TSM some of their own jungle, but waiting for their next power spikes.
And it's really difficult for Vainglory right now to be able to get towards a power spike of his own. Sorrow Blade is a very expensive item, one of the most expensive item you could buy in the jungle. And so when you go towards that, getting towards a second tier 2, or getting towards defensives, you have to make a decision. Which are you going to prioritize? And Vainglory has been told you are a frontline, and so you need to be tanky. That means that he is struggling to complete the breaking point. Has the gold, will go back, I assume, and purchase it, because it's very influential in team fights. But whilst this has all been happening, Ace has only grown their gold lead further. Another gold miner going over 330 gold payout to each player in Ace Gaming. And with only a minute and a half until the Kraken spawns, Ace holds so much control over Team SoloMid.
That they do, and we look back to draft and we see Team SoloMid going for that early Churnwalker pick. It has been a power pick across the course of the tournament thus far, but yet to see it have the impact that TSM would have liked. Had a good trespass in the last fight. I'm sure FlashX will be looking for another one here. No chains, no hooks yet being used.
And look at this, infusions have been purchased by Ace, but not by TSM, so they have so much more power in comparison to TSM. Team SoloMid obviously behind as it is anyway, and so they're very cautious to fight, knowing that Ace have these infusions which are just buffing their damage output even further.
Best Chuck has now finished that broken myth though, so he's starting to catch up in terms of item. Ace will take the second Crystal Sentry down there. One life remaining on that. 50 seconds on the Kraken as well. Ace, look at that vision control. Look at the amount of scout traps around that Kraken. They are trying to just gain control of this area of the jungle.
Wow, Youngju pulls out an Aegis of his own. Double reflex block, but it's all about being able to frontline Best Chuck and A's forward barrages so that Tessa does not have to. Creation pulls out the Aegis at the same time as well, and such defensive power coming out from Ace Gaming makes it even more difficult for Best Chuck to have the influence he needs in these late game team fights.
Here we go, they're going to dive on towards Best Chuck and on towards FlashX. Does get a good trespass off, but that is blocked out. Vainglory on towards the backline, trying to chase onto Tassa. Creation fighting in the midst of this all as well. Great Gauntlet will lock up Vainglory, and Tassa just backing away. Vainglory pops into the infinite reboot, trying to get into the midst of the fray. The Termination Protocol is not going to do enough damage. Here comes the rest of TSM though, and Best Chuck is chunked down. FlashX is the second to fall. Best Chuck will go down as well. Ace with the ace of their own. They'll turn their eyes towards the Kraken and perhaps look to start closing out this game.
And Best Chuck and Ace just not being able to damage Ace the way he needs to on this guy, the way Harmonious was able to take down Team SoloMid in yesterday's Group D games. Ace now to take both the choke point turret and the Kraken in a single moment, and that means that it only leaves the double Vein Crystal turrets to deal with here. Huge plays coming out of Ace as they can realistically finish game 1 of this series on this single push. Von C has not become tanky enough. He did not snowball the game. Best Chuck NA has not been able to control this Rona nor this Samuel, and Flash X's Churnwalker hasn't had the influence that we've seen him have so often.
And you're looking at a full build Rona, you're looking at 2 level 12 infusions as well. This Samuel is incredibly impactful. Von C wasn't able to take him out even though he was isolated in the last fight. Ace Gaming have yet to concede a kill in this game. Only lost 1 turret, didn't give up a gold miner, didn't give up really anything in the early game. They are looking incredibly strong. 7,000 gold ahead. They are looking for the close here.
Going to be a miraculous play for Flash X to be able to stun up people. The reflex box have been good. Youngju sets down the gauntlet, makes it even more difficult. TSM needs a fight.
They do. No fear is the call as they go in for the fight. The trespass is blocked out and Von C is already dead. Kraken still on the crystal turrets. Chuck is demolished and TSM are falling to the winds. Ace Gaming don't give a damn. They just want the win. They want the crystal and they will take it. They're going to go 1-0 up as they continue to clean out TSM. Another clean ace for Ace Gaming. They go 1-0 up over Team SoloMid.
Not a single kill went Team SoloMid's way, and Ace Gaming looking to keep the dream of East Asia alive. The only region left to qualify yet for the quarterfinals. Ace Gaming is the sole proprietor of that position, and if they're able to take a 2-0 over TSM in this series, then they would exit the group stage in first seed, with Hunters trailing them in second, and Team SoloMid, one of the most dominating teams in Vainglory history, would be eliminated in group stages, much like Rox Armada as well, the former world champions.
And it's the fall of the giants, isn't it? You know, last year it was Rox Armada and TSM in those finals. It was an incredible finals to watch. And now we see them starting to fall apart. And TSM across this year have started to, you know, say, perhaps we're going to see members leave the team. Perhaps we're going to see, you know, people retire from esports. Right. And now this was their last chance. This was their shot to show that they can still compete with the best.
Yeah, it is certainly 2017 is the uprise of the dream teams brought together to crush the old guard. The Kings potentially to be dethroned. And right now it's the likes of Cloud9 in 2017 start put together to be the dream team, Team SoloMid Killing Machine. Tribe halfway through the year was put together just to win Worlds. That was T-Tigers and DNZO's dream, and bringing Max Green on has solidified it. And Ace Gaming, of course, in East Asia, brought together to dethrone Rox Armada. So far, so good, but we still have another game to go, and Team SoloMid is a team that can adapt a series so quickly. They know when things have gone wrong and understand how to change things. If they can bring this next game back, then it's Tiebreaker City, and the group is reset.
Yeah, everyone will go into that 2-2 spot if TSM do win this next game, and we'll have a 3-way tiebreaker, which we will resolve on stream as far as I know. So I'm really looking forward to those games if they happen. However, I think if at the start of the week you told me that TSM would be the only NA team not to get through to the quarterfinals, I would have laughed in your face. TSM have so consistently been such a strong team and have at least got to, you know, semi-finals of tournaments they've played in.
I mean, it's definitely a position that you don't expect because they're Team SoloMid, but they call it the group of death for a reason here, Medic, because of the fact that all 3 teams can exit first, exit second. And that makes things so difficult for all 3 of them. Top teams in their region, Ace in the autumn and the summer, Hunters dominating China this entire year, and in autumn so much so. And for TSM, especially in their regular season play, have dominated North America. They haven't won a live championship for the Vainglory 8. They did win the Mobile Masters though. It's been a really rough year for TSM, and that's kind of the story I feel of this organization, starting with their 2016 defeat in the finals to Phoenix Armada, Rox Armada, was the fact that they were held out. And since then, it's been Cloud9 doing that to them in North America.
Ace Gaming on the other side of the coin, you know, they recently have formed to beat and to be the best in Korea, and now are looking very strong. After that game against Hunters, I thought maybe they wouldn't be able to bounce back, but that was an impressive performance against TSM.
And so many of the Ace Gaming fans have been so worried about Scarshield's departure from competitive play. He was known as probably just the best outright captain in the world. That is a title and a half right there, and when someone steps down, a person who made your team so strong, you were definitely concerned. But in comes Youngju from Hack, certainly an up and rising talent in the recent times, and has shown that he has what it takes to really hold a team together. Ace Gaming looks so strong, and right now Team SoloMid need to have everything put into this game, and that's not a position you want to be in the first stage of a tournament.
Especially since you have, even if you win this game, you've got tiebreakers next, and then you've got quarterfinals later on. If you win through the tiebreakers, you're putting a lot of investment on the line, but I think we are almost ready to get into the next draft. It will be Ace Gaming on side A, Team SoloMid on side B. It's the Baron and Churnwalker ban from Team SoloMid themselves. Ace Gaming go for an early Lyra lock-in, and then Team SoloMid answer with an Ardent.
It's going to be Team SoloMid's Ardent play. It's one of the things that FlashX, for his entire career since he was with Ardent, has been known for. It is such a famous pick of his, and if you have to put FlashX on any pick to try and bridge that gap, then that Ardent seems so poetic. Black Feather Band does come through, so Team SoloMid wanting to deny the chance of that Black Feather with the Lyra. Very hard to deal with. I do wonder what they put Best Chuck on, though. Rona seems like a strong pick in this circumstance, with the Ardent to just provide the movement speed in her Red Mist as well as shielding. That is a very strange ban coming out of Ace Gaming. Adagio would have made sense if they were potentially worried about a Captain Adagio, but it's been so long since we've seen Adagio even played in the carry position.
It's very odd. Maybe they were thinking perhaps it could be a CP Arden, not something we see from Team SoloMid. It's something we've seen from teams in East Asia. The Vox lock in here for Team SoloMid, though, and then Ace Gaming go for the Kestrel that we've talked about a lot, and the Samuel to round out their comp.
Yeah, so much siege potential coming out of Ace Gaming. Triple melee. We need a very aggressive jungler to come out on Von C. Alpha going to be the core once more, clearly favoring this pick on the current update 2.10, and Alpha very strong in that circumstance as well. But this triple range siege dream team essentially is this Kestrel, Lyra, and Samuel. It's really difficult to deal with. It requires such perfection in play of body blocking the right shots, back porting at the right time so you can sub in and out to keep turrets alive. And once Ace Gaming pushes that tiny snowball off the mountain, then it just becomes an avalanche, and that's something that Team SoloMid have to try and withhold.
And it's so difficult against a team from East Asia, from Korea specifically, who are very good at this objective focus, about this timing-focused play. If they can get a good position on you, they are going to take turret after turret. With those Glimmer shots, with the Malice and Verdict, they will do a lot of damage to your objectives if you do not stop them. It's going to be Crystal Power on Von C's Alpha this time. You know, Chuck's going for the Weapon Power Vox, so Von C will go for the Crystal Power route on the Alpha.
Yeah, and I think that is what was expected for this this Alpha here. Ace love this rotation here, instantly towards the middle of the map. No, they're going for fights! This is insane. They're going to steal away the front Treant and then take the Elder Treant as well. And this basically means that Team SoloMid cannot have any early aggression. Plus, once more, Tassa is put on the front foot over in an Alpha. Ace with this really aggressive rotation.
How important is it that they do shut down the Alpha early on? Because that seems to be what this rotation is trying to do.
Super important for their ability to siege, because if the Alpha is threatening, then their sieges become more difficult. They're always going to be pushed up the lane, and Alpha will have easier routes to gank them. And so for Ace Gaming, keeping Tassa and Creation ahead in gold and Von C behind is really, really vital. And you have to remember that Samuel can do so much dueling in the jungle, can deal with an Alpha if he gets the front and the top of the fight to begin with, as long as he's the aggressor in the position as well. We do see these minion candies coming through.
Yeah, Minion Candy was used by TSM to try and push that wave a little bit more aggressively. Tassa trying to get the damage down here onto Flash X. One more also would have been enough, but the healing flask will keep him alive for the time being. That's the aggression we said we'd see from Ace. Now Voncee's going to get caught out as well. Prime Directive's in, the Bright Bulwark comes out as well, but Youngju and Tassa do not want any more of that fight for the time being.
Yeah, and it is going to be Ace Gaming heading over to that Elder Treant and securing it once more. Experience going the way of Tassa, as well as that gold that you get from it as well. And Tassa looking to really control the jungle against Voncee. When you can hold Voncee down in the jungle, then he becomes very easy to deal with. Voncee's strength is when he's the one aggressing, the one being the threat. When he is kind of neutralized, Team SoloMid lose some of their star power here, and so Ace really just understanding the play style they need to adapt against Team SoloMid.
I'm really looking at Youngju here because he's got a Minion Candy sitting in his inventory, and I'm waiting for Ace Gaming to group up as a 3-man and go for this push onto the turret. When we see that Minion Candy used, that's probably the go signal for them to try and take down a turret early.
And look at the gold that's in Creation's inventory, 2,000 gold. He's going to shop up relatively shortly, you'll feel. They're going to secure this third and final Elder Treant and then move into the backs because they don't need to be in the lane right now. TSM realize that they need to fight, and so they're doing their best to move into the jungle, but Ace can hold them at bay so easily, and with these sigils, the movement speed coming through allows them to disengage any fights they don't want to take.
Good steal from TSM to take down one of the Treants, looking to take the backs as well, but they cannot quite get it. Voncee perhaps a little bit pushed forward here, does get the Prime Directive to take down that Treant, but now Youngju, Tassa will put some damage in from the side. Creation landing the glimmers. Can Flash X escape? We'll have the Vanguard back up in 3 seconds, so with some help from Best Chuck and Voncee, can get away from this Ace lineup.
Really love the rotational play coming out of Team SoloMid, understanding they're losing control of this early game against such an offensive siege composition and trying to make those proactive plays to turn this game in their favor. Voncee stealing both the Treants means that he's getting experience back and bridging the gap that has been created between himself and Tassa.
There's the Minion Candy, Dowsey. We'll have to see what Ace do with that because you've got double 6-ins as well on Creation, just going for as much weapon power as possible early on. Tassa's completed his 6-item build already with double Crystal Bit and the heavy Crystal Bit close with him as well. And look at the damage onto Chuck. There's no armor. He's only got a light armor. Voncee looking for the flank, but already the turret has gone down. The Bright Bulwark comes out and Ace Gaming just disengage. Voncee diving into that backline is going to get caught up, doesn't quite get stunned up. And now TSM should be able to get away, but Ace take exactly what they want from that fight. Tassa, the Malice and Verdicts are coming out in that drifting dark. Just needs one more, and there's the kill for Ace.
Amazing rotational play coming out of Ace Gaming. And you mentioned it, all of this early game, something we would have to watch for, and it was that single Minion Candy push that Youngju had been invested into for this entire early game. Once those tier 2 items came out, so easy to execute on. Tassa sitting moments away from getting that Oblivion. We already have a weapon power infusion sitting in Creation's inventory, and the Sorrow Blade has been completed. And right now, Team SoloMid are going to be in such a difficult position to really get back into this game. Flash X is nowhere near hitting his level 6 for the Gauntlet. Best Chuck and A on this Fox is going to continue to struggle into Kestrel for this entire game. Did Creation find that snipe? I think he
didn't hit them.
He didn't hit him.
As far as I can see, but he has got a Sorrow Blade now as well. Tassa building up
and
towards
this is
that
another
first
turret. The rotations from Team SoloMid have not been optimal. They needed to be better than this. Already down to half HP.
Flash X looking for the blocks on the damage coming out. Chuck's here as well with that Minion Candy. Still on a few minions here. TSM might look for the re-engage because Best Chuck has to wait for it. The turret does go down. 5 minutes in, they're looking for a little bit of a fight here though as Voncee jumps in, going into the termination protocol, trying to get one kill but can't get onto Creation, who gets away with the active camo, and Flash X is the first to fall, and Ace Gaming just don't give a monkeys about what TSM want to do. They're going to get an Ace 6 minutes in Dowsey, 2 turrets, and Ace, a Minion Candy wave coming up as well. Are they going to break this choke point turret?
This is so reminiscent of the 2016 World Championship, where Phoenix Armada ended Team SoloMid streams with an 8-minute game Right now, it's the newcomers from East Asia, Ace Gaming, looking to do exactly that in the group stages of all places. Wouldn't that be such an unfortunate way to go for North America's sweethearts Team SoloMid? But also, it shows that the Kings are dead. Long live the king.
Yeah, Ace Gaming looking like the strongest team in the tournament at the moment. Team SoloMid, remember, have to win this to have any chance of getting through to the quarterfinals. And 7 minutes into the game, Ace Gaming have a 5,000 gold lead. That is incredibly monumental. It's almost staggering to think about just how far ahead this Ace Gaming lineup is.
And depending on how Ace Gaming can rotate from here on outwards, they can take a team fight close to Team SoloMid's base, and that Ace, if they were able to get it quickly, would be game ending. And we are only at the 7.5 minute mark. Another gold mine to go to them to improve their gold lead to that of 7,000 at 7 minutes. And Team SoloMid cannot do anything about it. Vox struggling into Kestrel. It is just so hard to play, especially when you add range to that composition that the Samuel and the Lyra can do. And right now, Team SoloMid have to be so careful about what fights they allow Ace Gaming to take, because an ace for Ace could be the end
Minion
of TSM.
Candies once again going in for the push. This could be the end. This could be TSM falling out of Worlds, and Ace Gaming taking the win in the group. They're not going to push too much further, but they get the sentry down, and now Ace will look for the engage. A big wave coming in with those Minion Candies. Youngju going in. Flash X still not 6. No gauntlet for him, and Von C comes out of the sanctuary. Ace Gaming yet to pull the trigger. They are willing to wait. They're willing just to step into the corners, into the darkness, and force TSM to push out. Here we go. The gauntlet comes in. The wait for it as well. TSM with their last stand. The Flash X on his last life, but already TSM have got the first kill, and they're going to chase in. The Arcane Passage takes them forward. Creation. Von C is diving into the midst of them all, and he will just about survive. Eventually goes down, and now TSM can look for an ace of their own. 6 seconds on Tassa, but TSM have managed to turn this one around. Von C doing a great amount of work. Youngju eventually will fall. You have to feel Tassa back up, so it won't be an ace for TSM, but they hold on to their lives here in Vainglory Worlds.
Yes, North American fans will sigh a breath of relief as Team SoloMid find a power spike in that Ardent Gauntlet that allowed them to relieve the pressure that Ace Gaming has been building. They're not out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination, but they have shown that they are going to fight for their life here in this tournament, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Team SoloMid now need to try and scale into the late game. A North American team has to turtle into the late game against Ace Gaming, something that NA doesn't often have to do. But Team SoloMid know how to do this. They have done it before. They're going to have to do it perfectly against the Koreans.
And the problem is as well for Team SoloMid, they have to actually try and find some farm from somewhere. They have to go into their own jungle to get this CS, because otherwise Von C's never going to get past this 40 CS mark, and he's going to be so behind in this game.
I mean, we're talking about a triple item Kestrel at 10 minutes. Tyrant's Monocle, or there's 2 of them, and a Sorrow Blade, and Creation's only going to get even more damage onto the board.
I always feel like if you get 2 Tyrant's Monocles, you should just get a pair of Tyrant Spectacles, because you've got both of them anyway. So it's just like, it's a pair of glasses.
Would that open up an item slot?
Yeah, it combines into an item. Maybe you spend 1,000 gold for it or something, but Von C is the one to dive in. Gets put into the Infinite Reboot. He's still alive, though. He can try and re-engage already. He goes down, and now here comes Best Chuck trying to get 1 kill. He gets it. Is he going to go down as well? He does. Now it's on Flash X. Can he get onto Creation? Caught up in the active camo stun, and Creation heals up with a healing flask. Flash X just like dancing around, doing a little bit of ballet for us, but Ace will get the ace once again.
That was a very good team fight for Team SoloMid. The death timers are so short, so Ace Creation cannot be the one to go into the base and take down Vayne Crystal turrets yet, but a second life of the Crystal Sentry and a rotation from Von C will certainly hurt Team SoloMid. Best Chuck NA has to play so aggressively, and he did so very, very well to take out the Samuel and almost find the kill onto Creation there. Shows that Team SoloMid are knowing that they have to basically play like every fight is their last here. They cannot hesitate whatsoever. But when you look at the map, and especially the mini-map, it is littered in little blue specks. Young Drew's vision control has been immaculate, and this is a very scary thing for Team SoloMid. It means that they have nowhere they can hide from Ace Gaming, and their positioning against them has to be perfect as well, because Lyra can close the gap so quickly, and when she bright bulwarks and Arden, he has no abilities he can use either, and it makes Vonsi and Best Chuck NA's job of escaping so much harder.
Vonsi just went back, got himself some more shield for this next fight. Ace Gaming still 9,000 gold ahead, 12 minutes in a very strong position if they can find the fight. But TSM have shown us that the game is not over yet. That is the final Crystal Sentry. Is going to go down. There's the gauntlet. They get onto Youngju. The wait for it's going to come out as well. The bright bulwark has been used. Vonsi trying to get on towards the back line. TSM fighting for their competitive lives here in the Vainglory Worlds already. One is down. Best Chuck has gone, and Vonsi is the last man standing here for TSM. He goes into the Infinite Reboot, but he's got nowhere to go, and Ace Gaming clean them up once again. Is this the game for Ace?
They're going to push into the base here, Medic, and this could just very much be Ace becoming the 8th team to enter the quarterfinals here at the 2016 World Championships. Best Chuck is spawning.
Flash X is up as well. Vonsi 6 seconds away. They're just going to get one crystal turret. Ace. We talked about how the Korean teams are willing to take these low percentage plays. They don't need to finish the game yet. They are 10,000 gold ahead. There are no crystal sentries left for TSM. There's no jungle left for TSM. Perhaps there's no hope for TSM. And Ace are willing to prolong this game if they need to.
I do believe in fairies, I do. Team SoloMid here. They need the energy of North America to get through this game. They need to keep their wits about them. You just have to imagine the pressure on their shoulders here after such a tough, competitive year. A year which was potentially just not as satisfying as they would have wanted. Would be such a terrible way to exit the 2017 World Championship.
We are starting to see these item spikes though for TSM. You know, Ace Gaming are basically fully built across the board. TSM can only get stronger from here. You've got 2 completed items on Best Chuck. Flash has a metal jacket alongside the gauntlet and the crucible and the fountain now. They have a little bit of gold in their pockets.
Best Chuck NA has 1 minute to find 200 gold. That's very easy. And so he can complete that breaking point. And he'll have more damage available to him. But look at where Team SoloMid are pushed up to. Very aggressive push here. Will Ace be able to punish it is the question.
I think they're just going to
That's coming around the back. They
do have a flank. Here comes the Drifting Dark as well, and Vonsi realizes he's not that healthy. Great block on the gauntlet. The wait for it goes down as well. Vonsi jumped onto Tassa. This is the fight we need to watch because off towards the top side already. Best Chuck has died. Vonsi trying to take out Tassa, but he just can't do enough. He's going to go down into the Infinite Reboot. Flash X is going to die. Vonsi's going to get hit with Oblivion, and TSM are going home because Ace Gaming are going to take this game. It's going to be a 2-0 for them. They're going to take the #1 seed as well from Group D. Ace Gaming have looked absolutely dominant this game, and in game 1 didn't give up a kill game 1, didn't even get to the 15-minute mark in game 2. Ace Gaming are your Group D #1 seed.
They are certainly Group D's premier seed, joined by Hunters in 2nd place, leaving Team SoloMid the victim of the Group of Death. Long live the new guard of Vainglory, these super teams brought in to challenge the norm. Team SoloMid, Rock's Armada have fallen
Detonation
in group
have
stages.
fallen as well.
Detonation have fallen as well. We will see though, and this is extremely exciting for the growth of competitive Vainglory, fresh faces entering in towards that finals, and also all 6 regions represented in our quarterfinals as well. Big news for the fans in South America, big news for the fans in Europe, and big news for the fans in SEA, because each region has looked so good so far. Their top teams, their champions, are now going to be fighting for those semi-finals and ultimately grand final positions.
Yep, it's incredible to see how diverse both the games have been and the pool of players that we have coming into the quarterfinals, which are going to be on later today as well.
Yes.
I believe they're all going to be over on the main stream, so make sure you guys tune into that. Just /Vainglory if you're on Twitch, or you can find it through the client as well. I think that's it for us for now. Dowsy, any last words you want to say before we sign off the stream?
I mean, North America versus NA. EU. EU. NA versus EU, our first quarterfinal. G2 versus Tribe. That is obviously one that you do not want to miss. So make sure you head on over at 2 p.m. local time here in Singapore, which is, you know, all various times.
About an hour's time from now. About an hour's time from now, so make sure you tune in.
That makes sense.
That's it from us. I've been Medic, he's been Dowsy, and what Vainglory we've had this morning. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in about an hour's time.
Welcome to Vainglory.